This clown, Nick Fuentes, who we've talked about before, I thought Knowles and I basically erased this guy, but he's still going out there. He's still got his fans. And he's making this speech, basically telling people not to vote for Republicans anymore because they're not the real deal. This is cut 2.
From now on, I identify not as a Republican. I identify as a Trump supporter. Yeah! I am no longer a conservative. I am a nationalist. Yeah! From now on, I am only going to vote for Republicans that support an end to all legal and illegal immigration into this country.
Now, I don't want to say anything. Is that me or is he wearing a Hitler mustache? Guys in the booth, he's wearing a Hitler mustache, isn't he? That's not just me. That's not just a shadow. This is a guy who made jokes about the Holocaust, who made these little giggling, squirrely jokes online about the Holocaust. What's that? You think it's just a shadow? It's a... Because I think it's a pretty... If it's a shadow, it's like an act of God. It looks... He's got this little Hitler mustache. I was going to say, that's kind of a clue that you shouldn't be cheering for this guy, you know? It's like a little subtle, it's like one of those Sherlock Holmes things when a guy... a guy walks in with mud on his boots and Sherlock Holmes says, oh, you know, he's an unmarried candlestick maker from Shropshire, a guy who laughed about the Holocaust showing up with that little shadow under his nose. You know, it's like, tell me, Sherlock, are you insane because he has a Hitler mustache and he laughed at the Holocaust? That you deduce from that you shouldn't be cheering for the speech? Yes, Watson, you know my methods, Watson. That's a clue. I call that a clue. If you have a Hitler mustache and you're laughing at the Holocaust, people should not be cheering for your speeches. It's amazing, Holmes. That's elementary, my dear Watson. You know, I'm just saying that it brings out this kind of guy, which again, is going to endanger the only election that matters now, which is the only election that's still going on, which is the election in Georgia. And if you think, well, we're going to punish those rhinos, we're going to, you know, that's not the way politics works. That's not real life, you know. That is this revolutionary this imaginary revolution that you're thinking is going to take place that's not going to take place. And if we don't, you know, and it really bugs me too. Well, again, it alienates people from voting in Georgia, which is where we need the votes.
Did you see the real Andrew Klavan compare you to Hitler at the Million MAGA March and denouncing America first? I did. It was the stupidest thing I ever saw. And honestly, these people just discredit themselves. Andrew Klavan is an otherwise credible person, or at least people would believe that. And then he goes on a just completely off base and objectively stupid rant like that, and I'm sure alienates everybody that watches it. He's like, well, this guy's like, Hitler, what did you have, a Hitler mustache? It's like, no, dude. I have fucking facial hair. I have stubble, clearly. He's yelling in a speech. What is that, like Hitler? Well, I think he has a Hitler mustache. Well, what are you, a blind retard? You know? And isn't that their whole gimmick? Don't they say all the time, oh, everything is Hitler, right? No, but Nick is literally Hitler. And anyway, but, you know, I did sort of enjoy that video was making the rounds on social media, and the quote tweets were delightful. You know, people are saying, this is legitimately scary. This is like the 1930s. So this is how Hitler came to power. Now, I would never want to be compared to Hitler. Hitler, you know, did the Holocaust. The Holocaust is the worst thing ever, as we all know. But there's this fear now. There's this like, oh, they're actually, you know, anxious about what's waiting in the wings once the GOP is destroyed. So I do like to see that. But yeah, Andrew Klavan, he's a joke. They're all a joke. Matt Walsh is a clown and a hypocrite. Andrew Klavan is a joke and a hypocrite. And they work for Ben Shapiro. People can see right through that. Anybody who works for Ben Shapiro is no good. Period. End of story. No exceptions. Because Ben Shapiro's a scoundrel. He's a grifter. He's a scam artist. He is dishonest. He's not who he says he is. And the same could be said about everybody that works for him. And certainly people that purport to be Christian that work for him. You know, Matt Walsh is you know, the epitome of that. Biggest hypocrite, I think, on the American right. And Andrew Klavan, I have said nice things about him before, but, I mean, he's just totally discredited himself. He should be embarrassed. He should be embarrassed. He's not a dumb guy. He's a pretty smart guy. And he should be embarrassed, honestly.